Hello, in this video I will show you how simple it is to set up my minimap for your project. I don't have your project, so I use a small demo project I have set up for this. It uses some assets from the kite demo, and there are some AIs who are running around and we can run around. Mostly it's just the third-person template, so I will show you how it looks. I hit play. We are the blue guy. There are some friends, the green ones, and there are some enemies, the red ones. We have UMG UI set up. It's a button, and this button does nothing. So it's not really interesting at the moment. So we want to add a nice minimap, so we see our friends and we see our enemies, and we have this nice whatever thing, and we also want to see this on the minimap. So let's start. It's extremely simple. So the first thing we have to do after we imported the minimap to the project is we take this capture cam and drag and drop it into the scene. And this is a bit buggy, so now we have the capture cam in our scene, and that's all you have to do with this capture cam. Just forget it. It's no longer important. So now you open your UMG main widget, which is the widget where I have this ugly button. This is the widget. Now we have this button, which does nothing. But we can scroll down, and in this user-created list, we see the minimap. Now, we don't just want to add the minimap, because the minimap is really just an ugly thing without any nice frame. So, first we will add a new canvas panel, and we will resize this to something nice. Let's say 300 times 300. And in this canvas panel, we will put a border. This border will be anchored to everything, and we will set this to 0 and 0. Now this border fills the whole canvas panel. And a border is just basically an image. An image which can have one child widget. So you have inside the minimap folder this one example frame. So we will just drag and drop the example frame on the border. And we see, yeah, this looks like the frame for a nice minimap. So we will take this canvas panel and drag it into the corner here and anchor it so we can also see it. And now we will add our minimap into this border. We have to adjust the padding, and I know that 34 is the right one. You will use your own border for this with your own texture, so you have to figure out what padding you have to use. It's just the size, so a 20 would be too big, so we'll use 34. Now we hit compile and we see, yeah, this looks good. Now we need to go to our graph, and we only have to do one little thing. We need to override the function onMouseMove. Here we need to get a reference to our minimap and type set root geometry. So we set this variable inside of the minimap. This is all you have to do. Now you can close your UI. And now we can already hit play, and we will see we have a nice minimap. But while moving, the minimap won't move. And we don't see anything on this minimap. It's a bit boring. So we will have to show something on this minimap. More exactly, we have to set which rotation and which location the minimap should follow. And this is inside of your minimap functions blueprint. We have getFollowRotation and getFollowLocation. In these functions, you will just define, mostly the player, what your minimap should follow. So for the location, it's really simple. We have our owning player, and we just type getActorLocation. We will plug this in, and now the minimap follows our location of the player. For the rotation, we can just do the same, but there is one problem. If we just try to do it this way and hit play, you see the minimap moves if we are moving around, but if we are running without moving our camera, this is strange, because we need to get the rotation of our camera, not the rotation of our character. So this is just the third-person template character. So if we open this up, we will see it has this follow camera. It's called follow camera, and we have to remember this. So here we don't get the rotation of the player. Of course, we have to cast this player to our own character, which is the third person character in this case. And now we can get the follow camera. And on this follow camera we can get our rotation. It's the world rotation. Now we have the rotation, and now we can hit play, and it magically works. The minimap is rotating with our camera, but still we don't see anything on this minimap except a lot of trees and this strange big whatever thing we can see here. But yeah, it's still a bit boring. So now we will add points to the minimap. We can close our minimap functions and we can close our third person character. And now we need to open up the move panel. You can ignore everything inside here and just open draw points. Draw points is an empty function because you have to put things in there. And I think we will start with adding a point for our player. So you make a right click and type add points. So you can either add one point or add multiple points. Now we want to add only one point for our character. So we choose add point, we connect this thing, and we get our owning player pawn and get his location. Now we have the location of our player pawn. So you see a lot of things here, but it's really easy. The point type is whether you want to use a color, a material, or a texture. At the moment we only want to use a color. The size is how big should this point be. So the player is, well, it's important, so let's say 10 pixels. And because our player is blue, we will just set this to blue. And because we chose color, we can ignore material and texture. So this is all you have to do for drawing a point of the character. If we now hit play, you see we have a blue or purple point of our character, and I really don't like this color. And the minimap is set to have our character in the center, and you can change this. This is, again, inside of the minimap functions. Here you have the function get follow position on map. And the default value is 0.5.5. This means you have the map, and the top left is the 0, 0. The bottom right is 1, 1. At the moment we have set to 0.5.5. This means we are always in the center. And I think this is a good default behavior for most games. But if you, for example, don't want the player to be able to see what's going on behind him, you could just change this with setting Y to 1. If we now hit play, we, the player, are at the bottom. And if we rotate, the new rotation axis of the minimap is this point at the bottom. So now we cannot see what's behind us. But I think we don't want to have this. So we will just change this back to the default behavior. 0.5. So now we will add another point. You know, we have this friends and enemies walking around. The green ones are friends, and they are of the class friend. And the red ones, there, are enemies, and they are class enemy. So this is very simple. We can just call the function add points, connect it, and before we get all actors of class. And this is not a good way to do it. It's actually a pretty bad way to do it, because get all actors of class is a slow operation. Use with caution. Do not use every frame. And draw points is called every frame. So in your game you probably want to have your own array of actors in the game state or the game mode and get this array here. But we don't care about performance at the moment, so we will just use get all actors of class and type in friend. Now it will get all friends. We will connect the actors to actor, and again we just want to have a color. And the friends are less important than we, so we are 10 big and they are just 5. And the friends are green, so we will set this color to green. And I said I don't like this color, so I will set it to a more blue, and I will set this to a more green. So, and these two nodes are everything we have to do for drawing our friends. Now we will do the same thing for our enemies. So we will just copy and paste this stuff and connect it here. Instead of friend we will use enemy, and we will change the color from green to red. And I want to have a nice red, so this is a nice red. And we just hit compile, play, and you see our friends are green points at the minimap, and our enemies, the red ones, are running around and are red points on the minimap, and it just works. Just 2 nodes for each one. We can walk around and we see, yeah, they also walk around and it works. And it was really easy. Now, we also have this nice whatever thing somewhere here. This thing. And imagine this would be something very special. So this is why I called it a special thing. So we want to give it a special point on the minimap. So we will open our drawPoints class and add another addPoints. And since it's the class special things or special thing, we will get all actors of class special thing. Special thing. We will connect the actors to the actors, and now we will not choose color, but instead we will choose texture. The point size is, well, it's something really important, so we will use 30. We can ignore the color and we can ignore the material, but we will use a texture. And I have this nice sun texture. It's just a nice sun texture. It's something very special. So we will use this sun texture. And I guess this is a bug. I can't click on map, but we will just ignore it. And we will use this texture, which is called sun texture, for our very special thing. And again, this is all we have to do. We click compile, minimize this, close this, and hit play. And now we see we have a nice sun on our minimap. We can walk to this sun, and yeah, it's the nice special thing. And of course we can have as many suns on our minimap as we want to have. So if I would just get this thing and create a copy, so now we have 2 of them, and I will move this around a bit. And now hit play. We have 2 suns on our minimap, because we have 2 very special things. The last thing I want to show you is again in the minimap functions. I have it opened, and we talked about getFollow rotation, getFollow location, and getFollow position on map. We have another function on click. This function is called whenever the player clicks on the map. So we want to do something nice on click. So we will spawn an emitter at location. And the minimap converts the image location to world location. So you can just get the world location, and the player is our world context object. And we will spawn an explosion from the default particles. And this is all we want to do. So we hit play. So I can walk around again. And now I will walk to this nice special thing. And if I click on this nice special thing, you see there is an explosion. If I click on myself, then I see there is an explosion. So you can do whatever you want in this onClicked function. Spawning emitters is funny, but it's not really useful. It's just funny. We could try to kill these enemies with explosions, but they won't die. Yeah, it's just an example project. Yeah. You could also change the zoom of the minimap. For this, you would go into your UI and on something like event construct, you would get the minimap and set zoom. Here you type or give a value between 0 and 1. The default value is a zoom of 1, maximum zoom. And let's say we want to have 0.5. Now our zoom is 0.5, and if I hit play, you see it's all a lot smaller. And there is one thing I have not talked about much, and this is the capture cam. So the minimap uses an image of the landscape, and this image is taken by this capture cam. And in this capture cam blueprint, which is here, on the capture component 2D, you can set what this image should show. So, for example, I have skeletal meshes disabled. This is why we don't see any skeletal meshes. I have static meshes enabled. This is why we see trees and the special thing. So you could disable and enable whatever you like, whatever the image should show. And you can also set how often this image is updated. So let's say we don't want to see static meshes, or we want to see static meshes, but we don't want to see instanced static meshes. This will lead to no trees being visible on the image. Of course, we have to put the capture cam new into our level and hit play. Now we don't see any trees because we have disabled it. And you can set the update rate of this thing in your UI. And on the minimap, you have the function update image, which you can call manually to update the image, or you can update the update rate. So if I would type something like 1 in here, then the image would update every 1 second. So yeah, this video was way too long, but I hope you saw that it's really easy to set up this minimap. So thanks for watching.